Welcome back to another video. Today, we have downloaded a roster from the legend Nick Crosby 87 off roster sharing, and we are resetting the NHL to 2009. This year, the Chicago Blackhawks eventually go on to win the Stanley Cup. So I figured let's throw all the teams in NHL 22 in a franchise mode and see how the simulation goes. I have the stats here, so according to real life, what should happen is this is the year that the Washington Capitals will become President's Trophy. Henrik Sedin will be the season MVP, the top scorer, and the Chicago Blackhawks will face the Philadelphia Flyers in the playoffs. So let's see how accurate NHL 22 can get to this. I will show you all of the lines here. Not every team is updated, but most teams are updated. So the Anaheim Ducks, they got Scory Perry, Ryan Getzlaf. I'm not going to go too in-depth in every team, but just a quick catch up on the squads. Bobby Ryan. Defensively, they have Scott Niedermayer, James Wisniewski. The Arizona Coyotes, Wolchuk Wolski, that's a name I forgot. Shane Doan, Radim Verbata, Robert Lang. Oh man, so many good names. Paul Bissonnette back in the NHL here. Who do they have on defense? They're rocking Keith Yandel, Derek Morris. Oh, I remember Ed Jovanovski. Wow. There is going to be a lot of memories thinking back in 2019, or 2009, my apologies. Patrice Bergeron, 86 overall. Mark Savard, Blake Wheeler, Curtis Lazar. So obviously the team's not fully filled out, but Brad Marchand had a 79 overall. The only thing I'll have to say here is the ages aren't updated, but we're only going to be doing 1 year. We're just going to be doing a recap of the 2009 season, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But Mark Recchi's on the squad. Defensively, Zdeno Chara. Let's go to the Buffalo Sabres, and they have Thomas Vanek, Derek Roy, Jason Pominville. Oh, man. Defensively, doesn't look like... They have Tyler Myers when he was probably at the height of his career. The Carolina Hurricanes, Jamie McBain, Tim Gleason. And then let's take a look at that offense. UC Jokinen, Eric Stahl. This is when Eric Stahl was one of the better players in the league. Rob Brind'Amour, getting a little bit older, I believe, at this time. Samsonov, Ray Whitney. Okay. The Columbus Blue Jackets, Rick the Dick Nash, Antoine Vermette, RJ Umbinger, Derek Brassard, Texier, Chris Clark, Jacob Voracek, Tatutin, Mike Commodore, the Calgary Flames, Jerome McGinley, Iggy, that guy, a legend, this man right here. Defensively, who do we got going? Mark Giordano, Jay Bouwmeester, the Colorado Avalanche, John Michael Lyles. The offense, we got Gallardi, Paul Stastny, Milan Hayduk, Matt Duchene, Chris Stewart, Peter Mueller. Who's next? The Dallas Stars, Louis Erickson, Brad Richards. Yeah, this is before he got busted with cocaine, I believe it was. 91 overall. I mean, a goddamn beast. Will it show his stats? Okay, it doesn't show his stats. I thought maybe it would show some of them. Jamie Benn, a younger version. Mike Ribeiro, really good in the shootouts. I remember that for sure. But this Dallas team's pretty damn good. Defensively, I guess this is where they fall. Dylan Cousins apparently playing defense for them, but we don't need to look too much into that. Detroit Red Wings, Nicholas Lindstrom, one of the greatest defensemen of all time. Brian Rafalski, Nicholas Cornwall. I mean, get Cornwall. Do we all remember that? Pavel Datsyuk, probably the greatest hands in the NHL. I mean, Connor McDavid's got to be up there, but Pavel Datsyuk, Johan Franzen, Henrik Zetterberg, Todd Bertuzzi. The Red Wings were very good for a very long time. I think it was 21 consecutive playoff runs. Something like that. Edmonton, Ales Hemsky when he was at the best of his career. Dustin Penner, Simon Gagne, Brule, Mike Comrie. I've always been an Edmonton fan, so I know most of these guys. Sheldon Souray, Ladislav Smeed, Tom Gilbert, Ray Whitney. Florida's got Brian McCabe. I don't know how many people were watching the NHL around this time, but Stefan Weiss, David Booth, Nathan Horton. It looks like their team's not fully filled out, but that's okay. Ryan Smith, Anze Kopitar, Dustin Brown. This is, I think, the year after that the Kings won the Stanley Cup, so they are obviously pretty good. Wayne Train Simmons, defensively, Jack Johnson, Drew Doughty, Matt Green. The Minnesota Wild, Andrew Brunette, Mikko Koivu, Marty Havlat, Peter Sikora, Guillaume Latendresse. Who else do they have? Let's actually check out their defensemen. It should be Ryan Suter should be on this team by now. I guess not. Nick Schultz, Marek Zidlicki. Who's up next? The Montreal Canadiens. A young PK Subban with the aging Andre Markov. As a Sens fan, I remember this duo. I remember Subban turns into a beast for the Montreal Canadiens. Didn't quite, his career kind of got a little bit derailed. Not as good as he used to be, but I mean, still a good player. Roman Hammerlick, and then offensively, they will be rolling with Mike Camilleri. Kind of reminds me of a lot like a Mike Hoffman. Actually, not really. He's small, good shot, but Thomas Plekanec's one of the best two-way forwards in the NHL. Brian Gionta, Scott Gomez, Benoit Pouliot, Travis Moan, Maxime Lapriere, and then George Laraque, the goon. No one can beat this guy in a fight. This guy was an absolute beauty. 6'3", 253 pounds, just in there to sling the mitts. New Jersey, Ilya Kovalchuk before he went to Russia. Pavel Zacha, probably not. It doesn't look like this team's fully filled out, but Jamie Langenbrunner, Zach Parise when he was really good, Denis Zubris, and then defensively, Colin White, Kristen Yaros. Yeah, the team's not fully filled out, but for the most part, some teams will be missing players, but it's pretty good. The Nashville Predators, Martin Erat, Jason Arnold, Dumont, Steve Sullivan, David Legwand. And then let's check out their defensive players. There he is, Ryan Suter, absolute stud. And Shea Weber. Imagine that being your top two 5 years ago. Wow, two absolute beasts. The New York Islanders it looks like they're not fully updated. Let me take a look at their offense. They have John Tavares, Matt Molson, I remember, Kyle Okposo, Wallstrom, Blake Como. So they got a couple of the guys on there. The New York Rangers, Vladislav Prospal, I believe is how you pronounce it. Olli Jokinen, Marian Gaborik at a 90 overall. Brandon Dubinsky, and then Mark Stahl. Dan Girardi, I forgot about Dan Girardi. Michael Delzaster, and then Wade Redden. Let's see, the Ottawa Senators now. My favorite team. I mean, we were okay there. Alex Kovalev, my favorite player of all time. Jason Spezza, Daniel Alfredson. Looks like they're not fully up as they have Colin White, but Mike Fisher, Nick Foligno, Peter Regan, and Jarko Ruutu. And then defensively, they have Chris Phillips, and then a young, beautiful Erik Karlsson, Philip Kuba. But that is going to be the squad for the Ottawa Senators. Let's go to the next squad here, and it is the Philadelphia Flyers. So this is the team that actually made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. The overalls don't look too well, but I mean, I guess they just played above what they were expected. Claude Giroux, Jeff Carter, Simon Gagne, Mike Richards, Danny Briere, beast, JVR, Scott Hartnell, Scott Lawton. These two are newer players. Max Willman, Colin Blackwell. Defensively, Chris Pronger, one of the best shutdown defensemen the NHL's ever seen. Matthew Carl, Kimmo Timonen, Justin Braun. But I mean, that's going to be a team that apparently makes all the way to the Stanley Cup Final, so we'll keep an eye on that. The Pittsburgh Penguins of Genny Malkin and Sidney Crosby, when they were almost like 1 and 2 best players in the NHL, they were both unbelievable for this period of time. Gruen, Pascal Dupuis, Jordan Stahl, Alexei Ponikarovsky, Chris Kunitz, Tim Kennedy, Fedorenko, my bad. And then, well, Matt Cook. We don't like Matt Cook. Tore Erik Karlsson's Achilles. We don't like this guy. And then Michael Rupp. Defensively, Sergei Gonchar, Chris Letang, Goligoski, Brooks Orpik, Mark Eaton, and Jay McKay. Let's take a look at the Seattle Kraken. Shouldn't have anyone updated, but I'll just look at their team. I don't know who this is. It looks just to be a bunch of old dudes. But who knows? Who knows? I'm not too familiar about this team. We're going to move on to the San Jose Sharks. And they got 50-07 himself, Danny Heatley, Jumbo Joe Thornton, probably one of the best playmakers the NHL's ever seen. Patty Marleau, Ryan Clough, Devin Seniguchi, Logan Couture at a younger age, Joe Pavelski, defensively, Mark-Edward Vlasic, Dan Boyle. He should be an offensive defenseman. Yeah, he was a pretty good offensive defenseman. I remember him. Rob Blake when he gets a little bit older. The St. Louis Blues, Carlo Koliakovo, Eric Johnson, Roman Polak, Barrett Jackman, and then offensively, Paul Kariya, Andy McDonald, TJ Sochi, David Backus, David Perron, Keith Tkachuk, Patrick Berglund, Brad Winchester. So many names that I forget how I remember these guys. I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing this like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. I remember. I don't know about you guys though. Ryan Malone, Steven Stamkos before all the injuries, Marty St. Louis, Mark Parrish, Vinny Lecavalier, Alex Tanguay. Defensively, they'll be rocking Victor Hedman at a young age, and it looks like not all their defensemen are updated, but that's all right. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Dion Phagouf, Francois Beauchemin. This is when they were struggling to make the playoffs. Now they're one of the best teams in the league, but at one point, it was not nice. It was not nice. But they got Nazem the Dream Kadri, Phil Kessel. Their team's not fully filled out here, but Kyle Clifford, Bobby Carpenter, Tyler Bozak, Wayne Primo. So they don't have everyone, but they got a couple of guys there. The Vancouver Canucks. This is one of my favorite teams when I was a little bit younger. I love these Sedins. I love them both. Daniel Sedin, Hank Sedin, and Mikael Samuelsson, Mason Raymond, Ryan Kessler, Burrows. I mean, their team was stacked, but they lost last year, I believe it was, to the Boston Bruins. Christian Ehrhoff, Kevin Bieksa, Alex Edler, really good on the squad. Sammy Salo, and then of course we gotta show some love to the boy Roberto Luongo. What an absolute stud! Love him too. He's hilarious on Twitter if you don't follow him. And then finally Vegas. They shouldn't be updated. I don't know whose team is this. I've seen most of these players. I've seen Michael Pekka. I've seen Mike Johnson, Martin Lapointe. I just can't quite remember what team it was. Was it Atlanta? The Thrashers? No. I don't want to embarrass myself too much. Let's keep moving. The Winnipeg Jets. This may have been actually Atlanta back in the day. Nick Antropov. He has one of the best sellies. Evgeny Sveshnikov wouldn't be Andrew Kopp. Evander Kane, though, back on the squad. Is that Riley Nash? There he is. And then finally, I believe the last team besides the Chicago Blackhawks is the Washington Capitals. And there he is, the greatest goal scorer of all time. This may have been the best line in the NHL for a little bit. Ovi, Backstrom, Alexander Semin, Mike Knuble, Brendan Morrison, Thomas Fleischman, Jason Chimera, Belanger. Look how good this team. Honestly, this might be the Stanley Cup contender right here. Like, after all the simulations, I played NHL enough where I think the Washington Capitals may be NHL champions after this one. Alexander Ovechkin, 94 overall. His shooting should just be 99 everything. What a beast. But last but not least, the Stanley Cup champions. The Chicago, wrong button click, Blackhawks. Let's check out their full roster here. So, head coach can help. Now, we don't need help with no head coach. We're fine. Marian Hossa, first line left wing, 88 overall. Jonathan Toews, captain series, 89 overall. And then Patty Kane at 90 overall. Steady at the 90 overall for most of his career, I would say. Second line, we got Patrick Sharp, Troy Brower, Chris Versteeg, Dustin Byfuglien back when he used to play the big boy. He used to be a forward on the Chicago Blackhawks before moving to Winnipeg and switching to defenseman. Dave Bolin, Andrew Ladd, and then Ben Eager, Colin Fraser, and then Thomas Kopecky. Defensively, we should have Keith Seabrook at high overalls. Honestly, I'm surprised Seabrook's only an 86, but he was really good during this time. Same with Brian Campbell, Brent Sopel, Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Almost forgot how to say that one. And then Nick Boyton. And then in the nets, we should have, I think, Antti Niemi and Cristobal Hewitt. He was the, I think at one point he played for Montreal before coming to the Chicago Blackhawks. But the team, I mean, they're pretty good. I'm not going to lie here. I kind of want to make some roster moves. I'll look around here. Okay, do we want to make any changes? Any changes do we want to make? They have power forward Dustin Byfuglien. I'm going to keep him there. Kopecky. Kind of want to find a way not to have that morale. That's okay. We'll leave it like that. But those are all of the teams in the 2009-2010 NHL regular season. So I'm going to simulate halfway through the year. We'll pick up the simulation there, check out how everyone's doing, and see how close it is to reality, and then we'll get to the playoffs. All right, picking up the simulation, 44 games into the regular season. And Chicago, we're 24-17-3, so pretty respectable. Let's go look at the standing. So we are tied for first in our division. So it looks like we should make a playoff spot, which would be accurate. But let's take a look at the entire NHL here quickly. And just to note, at this time in the NHL, it was set up by Eastern Conference and Western Conference, so a little bit different than the way it is set up now. But let's just look at the entire league and see who the good teams are. And like I said, Washington looks like they're one of the best teams in the league. And they are showing it, only letting in 2.63 goals against per game. But if I bring up, let me just look here. So Washington did win President's Trophy. And then the other top teams, let's take a look. The New Jersey Devils, the Buffalo Sabres, San Jose, and Chicago. So those should be around the top 4. So I'm not seeing Buffalo in here, unfortunately, but there's the Devils. The Devils were pretty good. They went 48, 27, and 7, but Washington went 54, 15, and 13 this year. So Washington definitely is the best team in the league in 2009, 2010. So not surprising there, but their defensive stats are really impressive. Power play, who's got the best power play? The Calgary Flames. Buffalo has a good power play percentage, though, so they are in a playoff spot. They're just not doing as well as they did in real life. Let's continue looking at just the points. Who are the worst teams? The Winnipeg Jets, the Ottawa Senators, the Edmonton Oilers, the Islanders, Coyotes, Wild, San Jose, Dallas. Where's Toronto? There they are. Yeah, they're going to miss the playoffs just like every other year. And then let's see the top 10 teams again. Boston, LA, Detroit, Colorado, Chicago, and then there's a tie. Whoops. And then Florida, and then Nashville, sorry. Let's go take a look, though, at the player scoring. So this was the year where the Sedins led the league in scoring. So for the for the Chicago Blackhawks, it looks like Johnny Taze is leading the way with 33 points in 44 games. I believe Patty Kane was the leading scorer this year, but not bad. Surprised to see no one above a point per game, especially with the simming on, I believe, high. But let's take a look here at the entire NHL and see who it is. It's Ilya Kovalchuk, 59 points and only 13 goals, 46 helpers. He's listed as a grinder. I would have listed him as a sniper, personally. But wow, that's surprising, to say the least. And then Jean-Pierre Dumont, 85 overall, 55 points. Derek Waugh, 54. Zach Parise, Rick the Dick Nash, Blake Wheeler, Brad Richards, Scory Perry, Jason Palman P, Alish Hemsky, Semin, there he is, Daniel Sedin, Pavel Datsuk, Nazim the Dream Kadri, Austin Matthews, who realistically shouldn't be playing right now, but it looks like he somehow got through on the New Jersey Devils. Same with DeBrincat. Some of these players were probably in their minors and they end up coming up. It's not that big of a deal. We're just not going to be doing it with the Chicago Blackhawks here. Ryan Getzlaf, Philip Thrill, Iggy, Todd Bertuzzi, and then defensively, the best defenseman, statistically speaking, this year is Quinn Hughes. So Scott Niedermayer. It sucks that all these other youngins got called up, but that's okay. Let's continue the simulation here. So can Chicago make the playoffs? Let's do one slow sim. One slow sim against the Edmonton Oilers. I believe Taylor Hall wasn't drafted yet. First period, there we go. Up 2-0. Kopecky and Jack Skilly score for us. Second period, Edmonton comes within one as Sean Horkoff gets one past Niemi. And then finally, third period, they tie it up. I guess we're going to overtime. Overtime solves nothing and shootout, so we lose to the to the Edmonton Oilers. My apologies. Sorry, I'm used to being Edmonton. But I will simulate to the end of the year and see what the playoff picture looks like. With the regular season ending, the Chicago Blackhawks do not make the Stanley Cup playoffs, as we will not see the Blackhawks win the NHL playoffs again from the real life. But who is in? So we got Colorado, Nashville, Ducks, Blues, the Canucks, Kings, Stars, Sharks, and then the Devils. Also, Philly doesn't make it. So the two teams who made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals do not make it. Washington is my pick to win. Washington, Carolina, Detroit, Florida, Boston, Buffalo. Wow. I was not expecting that. We were in a pretty comfortable position to make the playoffs. 9th or 8th best in the league at one point, but it looks like we miss out. We go 43, 33, and 8 for the player stats. Jonathan Toews leads the way, but the team, we just couldn't score. It's kind of what it was. The Blackhawks just couldn't score this year, but who led the league in scoring? It was Zach Parise playing with Ilya Kovalchuk, Eric Stahl, Brad Richards, Louis Eriksson, 95 points, Dumont, Rick Nash, Sveshnikov playing, Derek Roy, Matt Barzell, don't annoy him, and there he is, Daniel Sedin. So Daniel Sedin led the league in points, but this year 87 points, not a bad year, but does not lead the league. Pavel Datsyuk, Todd Bertuzzi, Jerome McGinley, Blake Wheeler, Marty St. Louis, Jason Spezza over a point per game, Hank Sedin, Henrik Zetterberg, Alex Hemsky, Mike Camilleri, Austin Matthews, Daniel Alfredson, Nick Hagman, isn't he oh no, okay, left one. UC Jokinen, Nick Backstrom, all above a point per game. That's a lot of players above a point per game, but no one on the Chicago Blackhawks. So I'm going to simulate the playoffs here, and I'll let you guys know who wins the Stanley Cup. According to NHL 22 in 2009-2010 season, the Stanley Cup champions are the Boston Bruins, which is funny because in next year in real life, so 2010, 2011, the Boston Bruins would end up becoming Stanley Cup champions. So it looks like they're on pace for a repeat here. So Boston versus LA in the finals, best of 7, and it goes the distance as the Boston Bruins edge out the Kings in 7 games. And it looks like Washington got eliminated in first round, so my pick completely incorrect. But there it is. The Stanley Cup champions are the Boston Bruins. Let's take a look at the awards here. So Boston, Stanley Cup champions, President's Trophy winners also. So they play the Kings. We knew that. Individual awards. Art Ross goes to Zach Parise. Ilya Kovalchuk with the Hart. James Norris, Quinn Hughes, we can ignore that. Lady Bing, Louis Eriksson, Trevor Zegras with the Calder, Mark Savard with the Conn Smythe, Nabokov of Getty Nabokov with the Vezina, and the William M. Jennings Trophy. Bill Masterton, don't worry about that. Coach is the Carolina Hurricanes. The Selke, Anze Kopitar, makes sense. Probably happened in real life too. Ted Lindsay, Ilya Kovalchuk, Maurice Rocket Richard, Steven Stamkos, Art Ross, and then there it is, the repeat. So that's going to do it for this video. The 2009 NHL, the new Stanley Cup champions are the Boston Bruins. It looks like they're going back to back. It's the way it goes. But thank you for watching. Let me know what type of video you want to see next. And as always, have a great day. Peace.